everybody. Welcome back to Raven Radio. I am your host, Kat. Today, we're on the topic of more news related to VRC for their latest developer updates and a new update that is coming from Alpha Blend Interactive. Starting with developer update from 29th of July 2022, VRC has related this statement from what they are planning to implicate, especially in the open beta. Now, their open beta is being worked on, okay, so it is going to be very buggy. Here's the official community update as stated. Live compatible open beta. We've got a beta out that you can try out with a bunch of new features. You can use these features right now, join our Discord, and check out the hashtag Open Beta Info and Open Beta Announcements channel to learn how to access the beta. The beta, unlike our usual ones, work with live. You'll be able to hang out during the weekend with your friends and try out these new features. Due to the spread of implementation for these features, some of them may be in need of further polish or might be buggy. Make sure you provide feedback on our feedback forum. You can access the vast majority of the new features via the Quick Menus Gear tab on the far right. First one being Horizon Adjust. As mentioned yesterday, this feature lets you change your quote-unquote horizon such that you can use VR chat completely while in your bed or laying down. This is different from the movable menu. It works in both standing, sitting, three-part tracking modes, as well with full body tracking. It's worth noting that behavior while calibrating and full body tracking can be a little bit strange, and it's possible that some setups might experience some strangements. If you are having difficulty calibrating while your horizon is adjusted, try to make sure you're lying down completely flat. As a warning, this mode can be disorienting, so use with care. Horizon Adjust's known issues. Horizon Adjust has some issues with loading screens and any UI that pops up, like the login screen if you log out. This next section is called Movable Main Menu. This is actually two features in one. In the quick menu, you can lock the spawn location of your main menu to the center. If you set it to free, it will follow your line of sight even when you're lying down. In both modes, you also have the option to drag the main menu around so you can place it exactly where you want. Another implication they're planning to put in is personal mirror. Now, this one always has been a little bit of a favorite of mine, especially before EMMVRC got shut down due to legal complications after the anti-cheat update that they implemented. One thing I haven't seen yet, which I hope they do add, game devs, would be an alarm clock function, because I don't know about you, but I am constantly sleeping in VR, which would be very helpful. This update, Personal Mirror. This got a lot of additional work and polish today, went through a Q&A, and was merged into open beta. Our primary goal was to push this feature out in a fairly basic state, but we'll be iterating on it. Our primary goal was to push this feature out in a fairly basic state, but we'll be iterating on it to add additional functionality as soon as we can. Open it up via your action menu, the radial menu under Options. For now, the personal mirror settings don't save between launches, but we will fix that later. Calibration mirror. This is a special mode of personal mirror. Calibration mirror appears when you calibrate it and has its own settings, which saves separately from personal mirror, so you don't have to overwrite the stuff. Makes things a heck of a lot simpler, especially when you're computerly inadept as I am. Personal mirror known issues on Quest. Leaving a world doesn't remove the mirror, and it'll be visible in the loading screen. Now, That seems like it's going to be a little bit of a trippy encounter. I can't wait to see the results of that. Portal prompts. This option feature prompts you when you walk into a portal to click or pull your triggers to go through. That way you can't accidentally walk through a badly placed portal. Now, I'm not going to lie, that has been a problem for me because as much as I love going into public worlds, oh boy, getting sent to a whole nother dimension when you're unplanning of it sure does throw you off. You can turn it on in the quick menu to avoid confusion and better describe the feature's functionality. It was also renamed. The preview video below has the old name and we'll change it before it released. Now keep in mind all the videos of everything that is in this feed will be in the description so you can check everything out on your own. And for you out there who love having this inverted movement, I am not one of them. But apparently they are implementing this into the game now. Inverted look to move improvement. When leaning very far back or bending very far forward so that your headset goes slightly upside down, your look to move direction would suddenly point behind you. This change adds improvements to take into account if the headset is going upside down and allow you to continue to move forward during extreme leaning. In simpler terms, we fixed movement for when you're laying down on your back. Try it out, it's always on. Gesture Indicator. This is a feature where you can turn on a HUD element that shows the current gestures in use on your controllers. This task was created and assigned yesterday and was completed and merged into today. You can turn it on in your quick menu. Home instant types. Some users want to load into a different instant types other than invite. So now you can set your home world to be any instance type, invite, invite plus, friends, friends plus, and even public. For all y'all who just want to randomly hang out with your friends in your home world, now apparently you don't have to set up a whole new world just to do the same thing. They can join you. Or unless you want the public knocking at your door, feel free. You never know who might be coming in using your toilet though. Speaking from experience on that. You can adjust this in your quick menu. Additionally, we decided to add an option when you click Go Home that allows you to return to the default VRChat home world. Likewise, if your home world fails to load, you'll also be sent to the default VRChat home world. Ah, that good old flying island in the middle of the sky when you first log in always throws me off. Particle limiter toggle. This feature simply allows you to turn on and off the particle limit system. This was added in, it's in the quick menu. Turn it on and off. It'll reload avatars when you do so to apply the limiter. There's some weird interactions with the existing config.json files, so if you plan on toggling this on and off, please remove the particle system limiter entry from the betas, which I will probably put right over here, which I'm staring at right now. This list right there. Unless I put it there. Unless I put it there. Or down there. But anyway, the custom limits you set in the file are still respected. So if you want to have a config with the default values for some tweaking, it look like this. Particle limiter known issues. There's known issues where if you have the limiter enabled in the config.json, it limits your own local avatar. This is unintentional, and your own local avatar should always be unlimited for your point of view. The UI version doesn't have this issue, so it's best just to remove the entry from the beta's array. Camera screenshot lag. Currently, when you take a screenshot in VRChat, you'll experience a short bit of lag. In the open beta, this should no longer happen at all. User notes, web only for now. This feature is already live on the VRChat home website. It lets you set notes on users, so you can note down where you met them. remembering something to tell them, etc. Because, God forbid, I meet so many people. Granted, they are amazing people, but I have no idea where I met them, what we were talking about, or anything like that. So the context, to me at least, would be very useful, and I hope you all find this handy too. This task was a recent Jam project and was in progress already, so we just accelerated the web implementation a bit. Its website, only to start, you can store up to 2,000 separate notes with 256 characters in each note. This will be added in the VR chat application in the main menu 2.0. Auto-disabled avatar cloning on world entry. Pretty self-descriptive. If this is on, your cloning is turned off every time you go into a new world. This was a straightforward request that was assigned yesterday and completed pretty fast. It is in the quick menu under Safety. Bringing in a whole new separate section. This is in bold, so keep in mind. Upcoming features, aka these are not, I repeat, these are not in the open beta. We also have a bunch of other things that got some mileage today. These are not, I repeat, these are not released yet. Paste button on keyboard. This task is actually two things. Pop-up keyboard. Paste button on keyboard. This task is actually two things. Pop up the keyboard where you click into a text field in the world and implement a paste button onto the default keyboard. I will implement this right here as well so you can see what the heck we're talking about. Apparently there is a copy button now too, so I guess we should change the title of this feature next time. We'd actually really like to redo our keyboard, but that was planned for a post-main menu 2.0 change. This task was assigned, is in development, and has a prototype. There's some additional design considerations, and so a meeting with a schedule for Tuesday. Keep in mind, I do not write these. They do need to work on their grammar a little bit, because I feel like I just had a stroke reading that. But that is my personal opinion. They word things the way they want to. Thanks, Tupper. Near Clip Override. This feature allows users to override the near clip setting as by the world's reference camera. There were some concerns that this might break worlds. Setting near clip too low can cause Z-flighting. However, it was agreed that users that go out of their way to adjust settings will notice and reset it on their own. We'll observe behavior as people use the feature, and if it's an issue, we'll find a fix. For now, we're providing three settings. World setting, 3 cm, 0.03 meters, and 1 cm, 0.01 meters. Both the 3 cm and 1 cm options come with a tooltip warning telling users that it might cause Z-fighting. The tasks was assigned yesterday and has a prototype today. Text-to-speech. We're looking into implementing a text-to-speech library directly into VR Chat. We want to offer this on all platforms, so finding a solution that works on all platforms is ideal. In particular, we're looking at Meta's Oculus Voice SDK. In addition to being easy to implement, it also supports several other voice features we're looking into. Speech-to-text, text-to-speech, for example. However, since it generates voice data in the cloud, there are limitations we have to try to design around, like voice customization. We must also consider and handle the requests for us to disclose the enabling the feature requirements communicating with a third-party service. We may or may not end up using the SDK. We will see. This task is currently in exploration and design. Just when you thought VR chat couldn't get cartoony enough, I mean, just look at me. I'm like straight out of a... Well, To be perfectly frank, I don't know if this is the result of a Texas cartoon meeting with a Japanese cartoon and then shitting me out here in the middle of Kentucky, but this is what you're stuck with. So, speech bubbles. This is going to be fun, and I can see how this would go real bad real quick. Let's see what they have to say. We're experimenting with letting users chat in text form via chat bubble that appears over your head. We've had this idea for a few times over the years. Our main worry is preventing the quote unquote cell phone problem. We don't want people staring at their menus, messaging each other across instances, even if that's what people do anyways with overlays and Discord. We were disproved with the advent of OSC allowing users to have speech bubbles on their avatar. Users were using these systems without the disruption we expected, but you still had to figure out the rather complex OSC system out there. Those systems are still there if you want a super custom solution, but we wanted a native solution. Needless to say, this is also a big benefit for accessibility. The speech bubble allows for local communication, and you have to be close enough to read the bubble to see the text. We've got a very early prototype completed. This section, which I swear to God they switched the baking, it's called additional flavorings. Now, I guarantee you this ain't the bakery around the corner, nor is this probably Hibachi Grill. But under additional flavorings for VRC, because apparently they are not salty enough from the community, the big concern right now is not breaking paging in our current and new UI. So we had to be careful with the numbers we're laying out. Here's the numbers we're looking at, although they may change. Non-VRC plus friends list. Non-VRC friends 3 list, 150 favorites, 450 favorites, 2.3 times increase. World's 4 list, 100 favorites to 400, a 1.56 times increase. Avatar's 1 list, 50 favorites, is still 50 favorites. I don't know why they increased that to 2, because that mathematically does not make sense at all. VRC Plus, Friends Worlds Unchanged, Avatar 6 list, 50 favorites, now allows up to 300 favorites. Man, they're really trying to push for people to get VRC after the big issue where people are now canceling their VRC Plus. Let's hope that after implementing all of this, they get a handle on the situation and make it a safe community again for people to join. Once again, that segment will be coming out here shortly. This upcoming section is from AMD FSR. This is a fairly common request, but we have previously done internal testing and benchmarking, and were unsatisfied with the results. Warning, technical explanation from an engineer follows. So for those of you who are more engineerically inclined than I am, and more intellectually inclined since I just butchered that, you might understand this better than I do. We were able to put together a prototype build with the integrated FSR, but enabling it is resulted in significantly more noticeable aliasing, jagged edges, in VR even when not upscaling. Despite the high resolution of VR HMDs, the large FOV field of view means that the pixel density is much lower than a desktop display, which makes it more susceptible to aliasing. FSR 1.0 is a contrast, adaptive, sharpening, and upscaling process. Aliased edges are naturally high contrast, so FSR sharpens the jagged edges, making the aliases more noticeable. This, coupled with the constant motion of the HMD, creates shimmering pixels in the distance and on any sharp edges. Aliasing can be mitigated by anti-aliasing techniques. VRChat already uses MSAA, multi-sampled anti-aliasing, but that only smooths the edges of the geometry and not the textures of the UI. Attempts were made to add additional analyzing using FXA, the fast approximate anti-aliasing, and the TAA, temporal anti-aliasing. But neither of the neither produced an acceptable result. The only performance gain from FSR is from reducing the rendered resolution, which directly increases aliasing, which FSR accentuates. The only performance gain from FSR is forming reduced. The only performance gain from FSR is form reducing the rendering resolution, which directly increases aliasing, which FSR accentuates. The sharpening and upscaling process does take some GPU time, but less than rendering the full resolution image. From our testing, FSR didn't do a good job of scaling things back up to make up for the lost resolution, and the performance gain was the same as simply lowering the VR render resolution as expected. In short, the render resolution drop helped performance, but FSR doesn't do a good job of scaling it back up. In short, the render resolution drop helped performance, but FSR doesn't do a good job of scaling it back up, and produces visually worse results than just reducing render resolution in VR Compositor. Either way, people want this, so we put it in despite the results. This task has been assigned. This next section is hide avatars by distance. Hide avatars that are more than X meters away from you and replaces them with a super low polygon placeholder. Additional work was completed on this task. It's currently awaiting QA, who are understandably a little overloaded. There were some additional patches to consider, such as exclude friends from hiding, exclude shown avatars from hiding, and should the placeholder show you what direction someone is facing. There was also some exploration and discussion regarding optimization of IK data. Don't need to send / receive IK to people that aren't showing you currently, as well as transparency. There was also some exploration and discussion regarding optimization of IK. There was also some exploration and discussion regarding optimization of the IK data. Don't need to send / receive IK to people that aren't showing you currently, as well as transparency. It'd be good if the diamond was transparent, but there are concerns about overdraw. Conclusion, once again, these aren't all the things we've got queued up, it's just the ones we've been working on. More to come. We are heading into the weekend for us. It's a 3-day weekend, so you won't see another update until Tuesday. In the meantime, enjoy the beta and make sure you leave us some feedback.
Hey, Kat, there's been another update.
What do you mean there's another update? I just wrapped up here.
You may need to take a look at this.
Now, on that note, I actually did get another bulletin in from VRC while actually in the middle of reading all that to you. So what we're going to do is first we're going to cover Alpha Blend Interactive, because they did give us an update before the 3-day weekend, which is Tuesday today, came out for VRC. So we are going to plow through the interactive and then head back to VR chat and see what else they have in store for us. So this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy one today. From the creators of Alpha Blend Interactive, This is a public statement they released on today, actually, at 12:20 p.m. Keep in mind, this is August 2nd, 2022. Hi there! We have made changes to the hub that should fix the issues with a blank page. When trying to log into the hub, we are further investigating into stabilizing the hub as a whole, and the work on the new API also continues. If you had had issues logging into the website, these should now be mostly resolved. Occasional timeouts are still to be expected while the work on scaling and expanding the system continues. On another note, we have positive testing results for game crash. On another note, we have positive testing results for the game side crash prevention. While we are not yet able to handle all cases, a vast majority looks like they can be mitigated. We are looking forward to releasing the new API and the game update against crashing very soon. We are thankful for all your continued support, and we are certain that we are getting closer, getting to the platform stable as a whole. We are working hard to have it ready for the weekend to come. Now, I'm not going to lie, that was actually a good segment and great advancement for Alpha Blend Interactive. Congratulations to them, and I hope to hear more great things coming from them. Now, after going through the entire Alpha Blend Interactive, we are going to go into the August 2nd, 2022, after their 3-day weekend for the Canadian holiday. Happy holiday, Canada. I hope you all had a great time. And we are going to see what they have updated for today. August 2nd, 2022, live beta. There's currently a live beta, an open beta that works with live so people can use it alongside everyone else. That has a ton of features in it. Check out the post form last week to see what's in it. Over the weekend, we continued to gather feedback, and importantly, we also gathered bugs and issues with the beta. There's a few which is to be expected with the speed that we integrated both brand new features and features we had on hold. We're working on fixing those bugs and adding in some more improvements and also continuing to work on other tasks and projects. A new live beta build is expected sometime this week, or potentially fixing some bugs and dropping it into live and then moving new work into another live beta. Movable main menu. A bug was found in the live beta where the movement handle appeared unexpectedly. This got fixed. We found another bug where moving the main menu would also invisibly rotate and move the loading scene away from you. This was as well fixed. We changed the way that the features get turned on the first time to help explain how it works. For users, the first time a new user encounters the feature, grab the box, and it will always be on at 100% opacity. Ooh, that stroke tasted like toast. Hovering it will cause text to appear beneath the box reading grab to reposition the menu. After a user interactive with the grab to rotate successful for the first time, the grab button will fade out of view. Hover over it with the active pointer. It will fade the grab button back in at 50% opaquency. We also updated the QM settings toggle to read responsive menu is disabled. Click to always spawn the menu in your eyeline. When hovered over and disabled to read, responsive menu is enabled. Click to keep the main menu in its default position. Horizon adjust. Not much to say here. We put it out in the live beta and people liked it. There were some design concerns with people going upside down and being annoyed with it, but it seemed like most of it calmed down after the novelty wore off. There weren't any major bugs with the implementation, but there was some discussion about the UI for enabling the features, as the warning is confusingly also a button. Personal mirror. Out of the things we put out in the open beta, this one got the most feedback. There's a bunch of changes we put into the internal vision today. All mirror settings, save across play sessions now. Portable mirror no longer reflects into other mirrors. Tracking mode has been converted to a toggle, pin to world. Tracking mode now sits at the top level of the menu. Settings submenus no longer kick you out. Fix tracking ball reflection layers. Rename transparency to opacancy. Additionally, a face mirror prototype was added, which is a mirror that displays your own face attached to your HUD. This makes it really easy to monitor how hand gestures or actions menus settings adjust your face in real time. This task is iteration and awaiting design reviews. Hide avatars by distance, max number of avatars by distance. Last time we mentioned this feature hid avatars by distance from you, so you can set only show avatars within 5 meters of me. Everyone outside that radius turns into a placeholder avatar. Since then, we've added the ability to limit the number of rendered avatars by distance. This means that you can only show the closest 5 avatars. Everyone else past that will be turned into a placeholder avatar. There's also been an addition of 2 new options: always show friends avatars and allow override with show avatar. The first setting, always shows friends avatar, when enabled, will mean that your friends will never be affected by a distance or max number of avatar sliders. The second setting, allow override with show avatar, when enabled, will mean that anyone you clicked show avatar on will be immune to the effects of the distance or the hiding. Avatar don't load/unload when they're showing or hidden by the system. The swap over is instant. This task is getting some more work. In particular, we're examining the possibility of showing the render range with an effect of some kind while you're moving the slider. We also need to profile and benchmark to ensure we're not costing more performance by implementing this system, and are doing a bit of UI polish. Text-to-speech, text-to-text, and speech-to-text. There was a sync between the engineers, designers, and producers on this task. Internally, we've actually been talking about a few separate systems, so we had to separate them out into their own tasks to avoid confusion. Text-to-talk. This is the speech bubble we talked about last time. There's no cost associated with this, as we just built it into the application. The effort on this is mostly done for the first iteration, and prototype will be available soon. Text-to-speech. This is generating speech based on input text. This could be relatively cheap if we use something like Amazon Polly or Microsoft Azure Voice Synthesis. There's not been effort on this yet beyond exploration. Speech to text. This is covering spoken text to words. This could be relatively expensive if done in the cloud. Local solutions aren't constant and vary depending on OS. For the moment, efforts will go towards an MVP, minimum valuable product, a TTT, text-to-text implementation, which eventually will have TTS added on top. Once TTS is implemented and we gather feedback, we'll look into STT. Since TTT will exist, STT may not be as useful, especially since you could input into a TTT entry field with OS level voice input if required. Camera near clip adjustment. This got some further iteration today. Some concerns were voiced about having this feature on Quest. The Quest has a lower depth buffer. I'm pretty sure they meant lower precision here, which means that bad effects from adjusting this would be amplified a lot. I'm implementing this. We discovered that the reference camera sometimes had issues with properly setting to the main camera, so we're looking into fixing that alongside before this is implemented. It was also determined that a near clip of lower than 1 centimeter can be set via script directly. This could cause major issues with worlds, but users have asked for near clip as low as 1 millimeter, 0.001 meter, 0.01 centimeter, or 0.1 centimeter. This is especially useful for very small avatars. We're looking into ways to inform users that turning down the near clip that low will cause problems, but also users to do so anyways. There's some concern that because having an extremely low near clip breaks worlds, some world authors will be hit with a bunch of invalid reports of issues. This mostly applies with worlds with a large, far clip ranges. This task is in continued development. Noise gating and background noise removal. This is 2 tasks in one. Basically, it lets you adjust your mic sensitivity and lets you remove background noise as an option. We're implementing a cross-platform version of RN Noise, so this will work on everything from the start. The task is in review status currently. Portal placement. This feature will allow you to place a portal with your controller instead of guessing a position where you're standing. This task is in development, has some art assets, and has a prototype. As depicted right over here and right over here. Auto-disable cloning. There was a bit of confusion with this feature in the live beta, and we got some feedback. Instead of being a higher level override, we'd like this option to simply disable cloning in the normal VR chat. Main menu setting page whenever this option is enabled and a world change occurs. Being able to be cloned in any moment will be determined by the pre-existing setting. With auto-disable cloning on, entering a new instance with avatar cloning off keeps it off. Entering a new instance with cloning on turns it off. This was iterated on today, went through review and through QA. It'll make it into the next release or a live beta build, whichever comes first. AMD FSR. Warning, technical stuff follows. There was some feedback last time we posted about AMD FSR, primarily, why not 2.0? And what about DLS/DLAA or XESS? Why don't expect that we will get good results with FSR 2.0? DLS or Intel's XESS, because they rely on generating accurate motion vectors. They are all temporal upscaling algorithms that combine pixels from multiple frames to produce a higher resolution image. But they require motion vectors in order to account for pixel motion between frames. We have access to motion vectors in BIRP, but due to custom shaders, there is no guarantee that they're accurate enough to use for any of the aforementioned solutions. And without correct motion vectors, we would get various visual artifacts similar to Steam VR's motion smoothing, which are bad enough that it may turn it off due to said artifacting. This is especially a problem for VR chat because we allow custom shaders and we have previously never required motion vectors. As such, many shaders won't support them, leading to incorrect behaviors. Even beyond that, these temporal processes can come with technical limitations, with modern game often choosing to avoid certain effects because they interact poorly with temporal anti-aliasing techniques. This would still be a problem even in SRP, such as URP, which only just had motion vector support added in the 2021 LTS version of Unity, because users can trivially make shaders that need special handling for motion vectors, not realize it, and end up causing artifacts. On top of that, motion vectors do not handle transparency very well. So DLSS would need to be integrated into the middle of the pipeline so that it can be applied to only opaque meshes, which may not be possible in BIRP. We hope that this provided some further insight. We're still continuing to work to implement AMD FSR 1.0 as it works without motion vectors. See our previous dev update for further information. Assessing CPU affinity on Ryzen processors. We are currently investigating the performance benefits of adding a launch flag to VRChat that would set CCX affinity for AMD Ryzen processors. This could potentially lead to a performance uplift. It's possible it might lead to instability, though, so we want to make sure that's not the case before pushing it live. A note about FPS. Following the launch of EAC, some users have been reporting noticeable FPS drop in VRChat. While we've been trying our best to hunt down these issues, we haven't been able to replicate them on our end. This is something we've kept a really close eye on. We know how important performance is to our community, yet after collecting about a week's worth of data, we haven't seen the average frame rates of our users dropping. In fact, average frame rate across all platforms is relatively stable. We looked very closely at our data to determine this as the reports from users about lowered performance are plentiful, but we don't see any downward trend. Of course, this does not mean some users aren't experiencing these issues. It is totally possible. We would encourage users to first go through these troubleshooting steps and see if their issue improves. If it doesn't, you should contact our support team for further troubleshooting. It's entirely possible that there could be performance issues, but it might be localized to a certain piece of hardware, driver, or something else we can't puzzle out without a bit more data. To summarize, we are not seeing anything to suggest EAC is degrading performance significantly, but if you are having issues, please make a bug report. Graduation day. Alongside all this work, it turns out we had a bug in the community lab system that was causing worlds not to graduate properly. We fixed the bug and applied it to the fix retroactively, so you might notice a bunch, like 500 or so worlds, and the new row that graduated out of community labs. Make sure to go explore. In conclusion, as always, these aren't all the things we've got queued up. This is just what moved today, and we probably missed some stuff, and there is a lot going on. We'll get back to you tomorrow with more. On that note, I do appreciate y'all for joining in today for this segment of VRC News, and we hope to see you again next time. Bye! Some legends are told. I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. And that's how I get fucking whiplash. Anyway. Camera stream. This task was recent jam project and is in progress all paste button on keyboard. This task is actually two things. pop up the keyboard when you click into a text field in the world and implement a paste button onto the default key. Phone! Why? I am recording here. We were able to put together a prototype build with the integrated FSR, but enabling it resulted in... Where the fuck was I?